Hello, and in this part 2 IELTS speaking video, I'm going to look at the topic, describe something special that you bought at a tourist attraction. You should say what it was, when and where you bought it, what it was like, and explain why you think it was special. Now, a lot of the things I will talk about in this video could be used in describe a historical building. I will do a video for that separately at some point, but you could also take a lot of this video and use it for that one in the meantime. So let's take a look at the model answer. To be perfectly honest, I don't usually buy souvenirs when I visit tourist attractions, as they tend to be cheap and nasty, and I feel that they're a waste of money. There was one time though when I splashed out on a memento, and that was when I was visiting London, so I'm going to talk about that. One of the things on my bucket list was to visit Buckingham Palace in London. I'm not a big fan of the monarchy, but it is a stunningly beautiful building and I am fascinated by architecture. So during a trip to London last year, I made a point of visiting it. It is only open to the public for a few days in August, and I was lucky enough to be in London at that time. Because of the limited opening times, it was essential to pre-book, so I did this a few months in advance. During the visit, we were given a tour of the staterooms, which are used when the Queen is entertaining guests. Obviously, you can't go into her private quarters, but it is still fascinating and the rooms are breathtaking. We had a guide showing us around and she told us some historical facts about the building and interesting info, such as there are 775 rooms inside the palace. After the tour, we were famished, so went to the cafe and had a traditional English scone with jam and cream. I was disappointed that the tea was served in a paper cup, because I thought that the English take their tea drinking seriously, and it does not taste as good from a paper cup. Shortly after, as I was browsing in the gift shop, I spotted a teacup, and I decided to buy it to remind me of my visit. It is bone china and a beautiful pale pink colour. I use it every morning for my tea, and it is special because it reminds me of my visit to that very special house. So let's take a look at some of the language in here, and you might think I haven't talked about the thing I bought very much, but there isn't an awful lot to say about it. So you need to find other things to talk about that are connected to the topic, and the IELTS examiner will not take marks away just because you're talking about the tourist attraction here. It is connected to the tourist attraction, so it's important to mention some of the background about it too. So to be perfectly honest, I'm trying to use this in many videos to get it into your head. Something that you bought. When we buy things at a tourist attraction, they're called souvenirs or mementos. If you look at this word, you can see the start of it. Mem is from remember. It's something to help you remember visiting there. A memento, a souvenir. Cheap and nasty. This is a collocation we use to describe a product, an item that is cheap and not very well made. A waste of money, so something that is not worth the money that you pay for it. I splashed out on. This is just an informal way of saying I bought. And a reminder to use the past continuous wherever possible because IELTS examiners like it. I've used this phrase in a number of videos now. The bucket list, it's a list of things that you want to do in your life. So for example, go to America, swim with dolphins, meet David Beckham. This is your bucket list. So I'm trying to use this word as much as possible to try and remind you to use it. I'm not a big fan of. Somebody commented on my YouTube channel that this is not a natural use of English. You're wrong. I am a native English speaker and I use this all the time. I'm not a big fan of, I'm not a massive fan of, and it's another way of saying I don't like. The monarchy, The royal family, both of these have the same meaning. If you find monarchy too difficult to say, then you can use royal family. Stunningly beautiful. I use this a lot. You can use it to describe your hometown, a place you would like to visit. So rather than just saying it's beautiful, it's stunningly beautiful. I'm fascinated by architecture. I love architecture. Architecture just means buildings. I made a point of visiting it. When you make a point of doing something, it just means that you do it, but you make special effort to do it because it's important for you. I was lucky enough, a useful little expression for this. Limited opening times. So it's not open all year round, it's only open in the summer months. So they are limited opening times. Essential, very important to pre-book, to book in advance. So during the visit we were given, I'm using the passive here because you need a range of vocabulary to score anything above a 6, which are used. The tea was served. I was browsing. If your grammar is not very good and you're aiming for 6 or above, I recommend you take a grammar course, you study grammar for a few months because you're not going to get above a 6 if you do not use a range of grammar. The state rooms. These are the rooms like this. The rooms where the Queen entertains her guests. So if she has the President of Korea coming to visit, then she would have him come and have tea in this room. It's not her private quarters. This means her private rooms where nobody can go into. Fascinating. Try not to use just interesting all the time. It was fascinating. The rooms are breathtaking. So you go, because they're so stunningly beautiful. We had a guide. This person is called a guide. Historical facts. I'm just adding all of this about the building, about the visit, because it is relevant to the question and it allows you to get more complex vocabulary in your answer. Interesting info. Not to be used in IELTS writing, but in speaking we can shorten information to info. Famished. Really, really hungry. A traditional English scone with jam and cream. Some English people say scone. Where I live in the UK we say scone. And this is a scone. It's a type of, it's not really a cake, it's like a cross between a cake and a biscuit. And you have it with jam and cream and it's very traditional. I was disappointed. I was saddened. The tea was served in a paper cup like this. And the English take their tea drinking seriously. To take something seriously is a useful collocation. You could use it in IELTS writing as well. The government needs to take global warming seriously. Shortly after, not long after, I was browsing. To browse means to look around in a shop. And when you're buying something, this is very useful for this topic, you buy it in the gift shop. I saw a teacup, and this is a teacup. This is the saucer. You could use that word as well, a teacup and saucer. Bone china. This is the very thin china that teacups are made from. When it's the very, very thin one, it's usually bone china. And it's much nicer because it keeps the tea hotter. It's a beautiful pale pink. So this is called pale pink, like a light pink colour. So you might not want to talk about this particular building, an item, because maybe you've never left your home country, but you can use all of the language in your answer. So use things like the gift shop, souvenir, memento. I was browsing in the gift shop, and you can maybe use a teacup and saucer as well and describe it as being made from bone china and it's pale pink. Try to learn 8 to 10 words or phrases from this to help you with your answer. It's quite a tricky topic because in 1 minute to think of a time you visited a gift shop and bought something, that takes 1 minute and then you haven't thought about the language at all. So just use all of this language to talk about a place that you've visited in your own country. Let's take a look at a part 3 answer now connected with this topic. So they may ask you, why do people like to take cameras when travelling? In the past, I think they took them simply to record their visit and for something to look at when they got home. Nowadays, though, many just want photos that are Insta-worthy. Because of the rise in social media usage, virtually everyone is posting their lives online, and the photos are used to show off. It is almost a competition to see who has the most Insta-worthy photos. So I've focused on this idea that nowadays people are only taking photos to put on social media, especially Instagram. And Insta-worthy is a new word. Some people use Instagrammable. You could use that as well. Insta-worthy. And it means that they're good enough to put on your Instagram feed. And when you do that, you want people to go, oh, wow, look at that, isn't that amazing? So what you are doing is showing off. You want to attract attention, you want admiration from other people. So I've given you some examples. She only bought that sports car to show off and prove she could afford one. He's always showing off to his classmates. A lot of young people in schools show off a lot because they want attention from their classmates. So in the past, we took photos to record our visit somewhere and to look at when you got home. But nowadays, so try to remember these words, people want Insta-worthy photos, and this because of the rise in social media usage. Virtually everyone, almost everyone, is posting their lives online. So they're just putting social media posts on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook to show off, really. So hope you found this video useful, and thank you very much for watching.